As we ask all of our guests, we want to go over 3 movie-related questions with you so that we can get to know you better, the audience can get to know you better, and just kind of get a better idea of where you come from. So I will start out with my first question, or my only question, and the first question is, who would be your desert island director or actor? So if you're stranded on a desert island, you get to take the entire library of one person with you. Who would it be and why?
The whole library. That's fun.
The whole library.
Yeah. I think it's probably changed a lot over time. Back in the day, I probably would have said Quentin Tarantino makes me laugh. It's fun. It's dramatic. Like, it's got a bunch of these different elements that I really enjoy. Similar to like Scorsese. I mean, it shows kind of why I probably lean towards gangster crime genre. There's just a lot of just very rich elements going on in a lot of those movies. I don't know. I guess for me, it'd be kind of a toss up between like the Coen brothers, because they have a lot of those elements. They have like Raising Arizona. Raising Arizona made me laugh my ass off when I was a kid.
Right.
And it still does. Like I'll pop it on.
That would have been my pick too. I was thinking like, well, it has a Big Lebowski. I could watch that every day.
Yeah.
All day. So then I get the rest of the stuff too, which is also good. So
and they've got like, No Country for Old Men. It's like that's a pretty dark movie. And so you have all these movies and genres that they've explored, but they've done it like in their own way. Yeah. So I think it'd be a toss up between them and just nowadays. And Ben, you turned me on to Taika Waititi years ago at the airport. You just started talking about him, and I was just like, I can't remember what you had me watch first. Maybe it was What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, that might have been the first one, or I mean, depending on when it was.
Or it might have been the Wilder People.
Oh yeah. That was a great one.
But anyway, like, just immediately it was like it's got all of those elements. He's got like really dramatic things going on. He's just got a lot of different elements that I really enjoy. Makes it entertaining.
Yeah.
Makes it.
You get some comic book stuff. You get some feel good stuff. You get some humor. Yeah, it's a good pick.
Yeah, and like he talks about things that are like going on now. Like.
Yeah.
Like he keeps it very relevant. And I tend to appreciate it. So I don't know, man. I mean, between those two, I mean.
Plus, that would mean you'd bring an imaginary Hitler to your desert island. Who doesn't want that?
You got to have a buddy with you. Yeah, I mean, those are both good choices. I mean, I don't know if you just go with Coen's alone off of the numbers, so you have some more variety, but considering we're talking about crime and gangster movies today, you got Blood Simple and Miller's Crossing. Like, there's a lot of good stuff with the Coen brothers for sure. But Taika Waititi, I love his stuff. So either way, I'd be happy to come join you on that island. Yeah.
Who knows what he's going to bring? I would bet that he's going to do a gangster movie at some point.
Oh yeah, I would think so for sure. Yeah. I'm very excited for this next Thor: Love and Thunder. I think it's gonna be great. Then move on to Star Wars after that. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
He's doing Star Wars?
Yeah. Whoa, after Thor, he's doing a Star Wars movie. So I'm super stoked for that.
So wait, this begs the question.
Yeah.
Do they keep delivering like this director's movies to your island? That's like the one provisions you get.
Ooh. What if that's all you get?
Like, do you only get up till now?
See, then I would have to definitely go with the Coen brothers because they've already got a full library.
That's true. Yeah. It's like someone knows where you are enough to send you something, but not to come rescue you. It's like, he's fine. Let's just send him one more movie.
There's only enough room to send one DVD.
You're right.
It is funny, though. I was just going to say, if we ever did a round of like movies that I think I should like because everyone else does, but I don't, I would definitely pick Raising Arizona because I don't get that movie. Like, it's never
blasphemy.
I've never gotten it. So I know. I'm taking
you should have watched it when you were a tiny kid like I did.
Yes, I think it's probably
you're like, these babies, what are these babies doing in this movie?
Oh man. Well,
John Goodman was, running around like a madman, and
I'm usually always in for, I don't know. Just it didn't hit me, but I'm sure I'll give it another rewatch. But
it's all right. We got with Josh joining the pod now. We've got a 3-person team, so we can kick you out, and
it's good. Yeah, it's fine. Majority rule. This is totally fine. So
no, I'll be honest. I've only seen Raising Arizona once, and it was when I had first kind of learned who the Coen brothers were. And I think, Ben, you might have even told me to watch it. I don't know. For whatever reason, that was one of the first Coen movies I watched, and it took me a minute to to get into it. I was like, what even is this movie? I didn't get it at all. But as the movie went on, I did enjoy it, but it definitely didn't hit me immediately like a lot of their other movies did, like Fargo or whatever.
Fargo's amazing. I think that's what kind of sold me more on like trying to check out all of their other work. Was Fargo. Like hit me, like it got me. And it was the same thing. It's hilarious. It's dark. It's got all of those elements that I wanted to see in a story.
Fargo actually leads me to the question I had for you, because it was a movie that was recommended to me by my grandfather. And I realized, and I've talked to Ben and Matt a little bit about this, like a lot of my favorite movies growing up and some of the movies that shaped my interest and taste in movies came from recommendations from my grandfather. Like a lot of my sense of humor comes from him. Like he showed me.
I've heard on your other shows you were talking about the Christmas movies and stuff. Your traditions with that.
He showed me like Young Frankenstein.
Dude, Frank.
He showed me the Three Amigos. Couple other movies that I might end up talking about on here I won't spoil it, but one of them is Fargo. I think it's one of his favorite movies ever.
Really?
And so I got thinking, I was like, man, like who, like, it just so happens that in my life, my grandfather influenced my taste in movies a lot. So I was curious if you had a person or or something in your life that influenced your taste and the way that, the movies you love.
I would say, definitely like Coen, like I said, I watched Raising Arizona when I was a kid. Like my dad put that on for me. Young Frankenstein, that's another one he put on for me. I was like, why are you showing me this old movie? Why is it in black and white? But I was patient enough to like get into it, and that meant a lot to me. Beetlejuice as a kid, like these movies as I was a kid. And I've wrote about that on Letterboxd too, where I kind of say that it's kind of like the scary stories come to life at that time for me, because I was reading, the scary stories to tell in the dark.
Right.
That's what that was kind of like for me. But towards the 90s, like I said, Tarantino. Once I started watching more independent movies, I started like opening it up and watching like something I would never really watch, documentaries, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Errol Morris. But that, like, anything he does is amazing.
Yeah.
Every movie that I have to be in the right mood for it. I have to be like ready to watch a documentary.
Didn't he make a bunch of like public service announcement commercials about texting while driving? Like he did some like really heavy, like in-depth, I don't know.
Yeah, he may have. I know Herzog did.
Oh, was it Herzog that did that?
Yeah, I know he made a couple, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Errol Morris did
some
sort of
PSA
PSA like that.
Library.
Yeah.
If he does.
Documentaries and I'll never be able to watch all of his movies.
No, not at all. His stuff's great though.
Yeah. But I mean, I kind of opened it up, and these days I would just say, Taika Waititi. I'm interested in whatever he's going to put out.
Yeah. But you would say like your dad kind of set you on the path, like shaping your taste and showing you things as a young guy.
Yeah, with kind of the screwball comedies, like he would bring like Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles. I know he showed me that one, which like maybe not appropriate for me.
Have you seen that recently? Like my parents were in town and my dad was watching that, and I hadn't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
And he was watching it and I didn't realize what it was. I was like, what are you guys watching? Like, what is this? And they were like, oh, it's Blazing Saddles. And then it kind of came back to me and I realized what it was. I was like, oh, okay. Like, cause they were just like watching Netflix. I didn't know it was on there. And I just was I was like, what? Like, this is 2000. I think it was like 2018 at the time. I'm like, it's 2018. They can't talk like that. What is
Y'all need to get woke.
Yeah, right. So it was kind of a trip, but yeah, it's pretty intense. It's kind of a rough hang.
And it's hard, man. It's hard because you watch all these movies, like even like for me, like Kevin Spacey films. It's like, man, I freaking loved Usual Suspects, and I can't not think about whatever he was really into. It's like, man, it's hard to watch this now.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, compiling the list and stuff, and having the options of Usual Suspects and Baby Driver for this crime gangster thing. Like, man, it's a bummer that some of these artists, just like what they did is obviously the biggest issue here, but on a smaller level, for us personally, it's just kind of like, oh, it sucks that you can't enjoy this shit anymore because like, you just like sometimes just get caught up thinking about that, like, oh man, it sucks so bad. But
I mean, we can even talk about Roman Polanski in that way too.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it's a different conversation for a different episode.
Cool.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I mean, sounds like he planted some good seeds, as far as the comedy and stuff like that with you. So I think that's rad. Matt, do you want to go through your question?
Yeah. So my question was, we recently went through a round that Ben had selected called Unsung Gems. And it was essentially the qualifiers of that were, we had to choose movies that we loved, that we were pretty sure no one else loved, or that very few people had probably seen. And so my curiosity always comes back to that. I thought that was a great category. And so what's a movie that you love that you're pretty sure no one else has seen, or at least no one appreciates the way you do?
So, I mean, the Errol Morris library, like what he's got, like, I feel like everyone should see it, but a lot of people probably will not see it ever because they're documentaries, but they're so artfully done.
They're so good.
Yeah. But the other ones I was kind of thinking of aren't really even movies. They're like music videos. This Spike Jonze compilation of music videos. And then Michel Gondry had some that came out about the same time. They had these collections of music videos, and they're just super, super innovative in the way that they were made at the time. And Chris Cunningham had a series with them too, where like he does this amazing Bjork video. It's Bjork as an android. You guys may have seen that.
Oh, I've seen that.
I don't know if I have.
And it's basically Bjork on Bjork as android.
Nice.
So pretty amazing. Yeah. I mean, those are some of the ones that I think about when it comes to unsung gems that people probably won't see.
Yeah.
I was so thankful for Spike Jonze when I was younger. I was way into skateboarding, and like my parents were always cool with it, but Spike Jonze, he came up like filming his friends making skateboard videos. He made some like iconic, like classic skateboard movies. And then he started doing like the music videos and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those skate videos. They're amazing.
And like my parents, it was so rad to have someone my parents could relate to because they knew I was into film and photography. And so they saw this guy who loved skateboarding with his friends and became Spike Jonze. And so like kind of helped, not that there was necessarily a gap between my parents and I, but it helped them. It made more sense to them. Like it was something tangible. They're like, oh yeah, like
which
it's like
cool.
a thing. Yeah. So it was cool. Like Spike Jonze has always been sort of a big,
I said that. I'm sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, he's just always held a special place in my heart because it was like so personal for me that I like it was relatable. Like someone my parents could understand, they could help understand like who I was a little bit better.
Dude, and his first feature was amazing. Being John Malkovich, I freaking love that movie.
Yeah.
There's another unsung gem for me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's just what I was going to say is like, I mean, you pick these two people who have the collection of their music videos, but they're great directors on their own.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind for Michel Gondry and The Science of Sleep and Spike Jonze. Like, yeah, I mean, their music videos are wonderful. I'm not as into like the skateboarding videos. I love watching them, but one thing that I will go back on YouTube and watch all the time is the fully flared intro from Spike Jonze, just like everything in slow-mo with the stuff just exploding behind them and stuff. I'm like,
freaking amazing.
Oh man, it's so beautiful.
That and the movie Yeah Right, where he was able to use a lot of like Hollywood production stuff, like green screen stuff.
Yeah.
So there's like it looked like they were floating without the skateboard, and a bunch of other stuff he did. It was really cool to see that because I like skateboard videos were always very do it yourself and very raw and gritty. So to have that level of production and have it be like an event, like that movie Yeah Right and the movie Fully Flared. For me as a skateboarder at that time, those were like events. Like they were like I owned both of them. I watched them countless times.
Yeah, I don't skate, but I always appreciated those skate movies when we were living out there on G Street. We like Brian would constantly put those on. And that's where I saw that one you were talking about the super slow motion shots and
nice,
and like not even just not to turn this into a skateboarding podcast, but the fact that like they were like landing these tricks, like that's the most like the craziest thing to me is that like they like landed these things, like they could actually do these tricks while this is happening. I don't know, it's pretty wild.
Well, and to get more morbid is when they're not landing them, which maybe I should have brought this other unsung gem up, and it's pretty morbid, but when I was a kid, I used to have these VHS tapes, Faces of Death. Did you guys ever watch those?
Oh, I never saw them. I'm familiar with them. But
they're pretty gruesome, but I was a curious kid. And I remember I was watching it, and my dad came in, and he's just like, "What are you watching?" He's like, "Are you morbid?"
Yeah, this is my unsung gem. Come on, man. Like, I'm going to talk about this on a podcast in 30 years. Leave me alone.
Yeah, Faces of Death, man. I never saw the VHS tapes, but they were floating around our school and stuff. And I saw some stuff online that was on those videos. I saw like 3 or 4 videos, and I kind of wish I hadn't. So
it's enough. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you for putting up with our round of questions.